I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow. In this video, we're going to tell you something that the whole world is whispering about. The story of how Queen Camilla suddenly left Windsor Palace one dark morning, and how a secret audio between King Charles and someone from his past changed everything inside the palace walls. You're about to hear what no news channel dares to explain in simple words. But before we start, I want to ask you this. If you ever found a secret that could shake an entire kingdom, would you tell the world or would you keep it hidden? Tell me your answer in the comments below, because this one will make you think. And if you want to stay updated on royal secrets and stories that others won't tell you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Let's dive into this mystery together. Hit the like button if you're ready to uncover the truth. The story begins early in the morning. The air around Windsor Palace was quiet, maybe too quiet. Reporters waited outside the big gates, but nothing seemed normal. Royal cars usually moved in and out every few minutes. That day, nothing moved. Only the sound of birds and the slow echo of footsteps from a guard. And then someone noticed. Queen Camilla's car was gone. Her private driver was gone too. Inside the palace, no one wanted to speak. But whispers spread fast, faster than the morning fog. Something had happened during the night, and people could feel it. Something inside the palace had broken. If you were there that morning, what would you think happened to the Queen? Hours passed, and the first news alerts started flashing on phones across Britain. Unconfirmed reports say Queen Camilla has left Windsor after a private dispute. People didn't believe it at first. The royal family never shows cracks in public, but by noon, every channel was talking. Still, the palace stayed silent. No statement, no explanation. That silence spoke louder than words. Silence can sometimes scream louder than a storm. Have you ever felt that silence hides the biggest truth? By evening, a short audio clip started spreading online. It was only 30 seconds long with crackling sound like an old recording. But people claimed it was King Charles talking to a former confidant, someone close to him many years ago. The voice in the clip sounded calm, but heavy. He said something about keeping the crown safe no matter the cost. The internet exploded. Was it real? Was it fake? Nobody knew but the voice. It sounded too real to ignore. One short audio had just opened a storm. Would you listen to a secret recording if it could destroy someone's life? Within hours, hashtags started trending. LexJack's Windsor leak, Camilligan, Ness, royal audio. News reporters camped outside Windsor Palace. The royal press office refused to comment. Every minute, new theories appeared. Some said the Queen found out first. Others said she was protecting the king, but nobody had answers. People started asking the same question. Where is she? The more they searched for answers, the deeper the mystery grew. Do you think the truth always comes out? Or can secrets stay buried forever? Inside Kensington Palace, Princess Catherine stayed quiet. She didn't post anything. Didn't appear anywhere. People noticed her calm face when she finally stepped out for a charity event days later. She smiled, but her eyes looked tired as if she knew more than anyone else. Cameras captured her wave, but behind that smile, maybe she was protecting her family. Sometimes strength looks like silence. Do you think staying quiet means you're hiding something or protecting someone? Meanwhile, inside Windsor, strange things started happening. Guards said new orders came overnight. No phones, no outside calls. Even senior staff had to hand over their devices. It was as if the palace had turned into a secret bunker. A few people claimed King Charles had gone to Balmoral for a few days, but no one could confirm. The royal walls had never felt so closed. If you worked inside a place full of secrets, would you dare to ask what's really happening? The media outside grew wilder. Every small clue became breaking news. Someone said they saw a letter delivered to Clarence's house, marked private for His Majesty only. Someone else said Prince William had been seen entering Windsor at night, but no one saw Camilla. Her phone was switched off. Her schedule was empty. It was as if she had vanished. The Queen of England had disappeared, and no one could say why. What would make a queen walk away from her crown overnight? 3 days later, the mysterious audio reappeared, this time longer, almost 3 minutes. The voice believed to be the king's spoke softly. He talked about choices that would never be understood, and a promise made long ago to protect the throne. People tried to decode every word. Some thought he was speaking about the royal succession. Others believed it was about something more personal, something between him and Camilla. The words were calm, but the meaning was dangerous. Do you think power always comes with a price? As the world argued, royal experts reminded everyone that leaks like this rarely happen from inside. It had to come from someone close, someone trusted. That made the situation even scarier. If a secret recording existed, who made it? And why now? Every mystery begins with one person who knows too much. If you discovered a secret that could shake the world, would you tell it or hide it forever? Days passed, and people started noticing small changes. Flags were lowered at certain buildings. Official schedules were canceled. Rumors said the king looked pale and tired. Some even said he was ill. Still no sign of Camilla. Her last public appearance had been a charity dinner just 2 nights before she left. Cameras caught her laughing, holding a glass of water, wearing pearls. Nobody could imagine she'd be gone within 48 hours. Sometimes the happiest faces hide the heaviest hearts. Can you always trust what you see in a picture? Reporters dug deeper into the leaked audio. A few sound engineers claimed the clip was edited, that someone spliced 2 conversations, but others insisted it was real. The royal family's refusal to comment made it worse. The world wanted truth, but truth inside a palace is never easy. In a place built on tradition, secrets last longer than time itself. Do you think old traditions protect people or just hide their mistakes? By the end of the week, another shock came. A journalist claimed that the audio was not the only one. He said there was a second recording, even more personal, that someone was trying to sell. This sent panic through every news desk in London. But strangely, the story vanished the next day. The article was deleted. The journalist stopped posting. When stories vanish overnight, it usually means someone powerful made a call. What would you do if your own story was erased from the world in a single click? At the same time, an old friend of Camilla spoke to a small magazine. She said Camilla had been feeling deeply hurt and trapped between duty and love. She said the queen was not angry, she was heartbroken. Maybe the audio reminded her of something she had tried to forget. Maybe it made her realize that peace inside the palace was an illusion. Sometimes leaving isn't running away. It's the only way to breathe. Have you ever walked away from something not because you hated it, but because you loved it too much? The next morning, social media showed photos of a private jet spotted leaving a small airport near London. People speculated that Camilla was on board. No official statement again, but inside sources said she had gone to a private estate in the countryside. The palace still said nothing. King Charles canceled his next appearance, saying he needed personal time. That was the first official clue that something truly serious was going on. When the king stays silent, the world starts guessing. Would you rather know a painful truth or stay comfortable in a lie? For the next few days, the internet turned the story into a storm. Every small photo, every rumor became proof of something. But among all the noise, a few people noticed one quiet thing. Catherine again. She was seen leaving a chapel holding a small notebook. A reporter asked if she had spoken to the Queen. She didn't answer, only smiled politely and walked away. That small smile became headline news again. Sometimes the smallest actions speak the loudest truths. Do you think one smile can hide an entire secret? Then one night, something unexpected happened. The palace lights went dark early, all of them. Reporters who camped outside said the guards changed shifts twice. Around midnight, a single car arrived and went straight inside the gates. No one knew who was in it. Some believed it was a royal advisor bringing new information. Others said it was Catherine herself visiting quietly. No one confirmed. When darkness falls on a palace, it's never just about the lights. Who do you think arrived that night? And why so secretly? The following morning, the palace released a short, calm statement. Her Majesty the Queen is taking time away from public duties for personal reasons. The king continues his schedule. That was it. No details, no explanations, but everyone knew. This was more than personal reasons. It was the calmest way to describe a storm. Words can be polite, but meanings are never small. Do you think power makes people free or makes them prisoners of their own image? Behind closed doors, insiders said the king was struggling to manage both his role and the emotional fallout. They said he had trusted someone years ago, a friend, and that this person might have recorded their private talk. That betrayal once uncovered felt like a knife. Camilla, hearing it, may have felt the same wound, only deeper. Betrayal cuts deeper when it comes from someone you once called friend. Have you ever been hurt by someone you trusted the most? Slowly, people began to notice changes in the king's tone during public speeches. He looked distant, choosing his words carefully, as if each one carried weight. Royal watchers said his eyes seemed to search the crowd for something. Maybe forgiveness, maybe understanding. But people's hearts were divided. Some blamed Camilla for leaving. Others blamed the king for hiding things. In royal stories, the truth often wears two faces. If two people tell different versions of the same truth, which one would you believe? The media kept chasing the story, but the palace grew quieter. Weeks passed. Then a small piece of paper surfaced online, said to be written by Camilla's assistant. It simply read, "Her Majesty wishes to be alone for now." That sentence broke people's hearts. It sounded sad, tired, final. Even a queen can feel alone inside a golden cage. Do you think titles and crowns can really protect someone's heart? After that, public sympathy shifted. People started sending messages of support online. The tone changed from gossip to concern. News anchors spoke softer. Some even said the royal family deserved space to heal. But the question remained, what exactly was on that audio? Why did it shake the palace so much? When answers stay hidden, imaginations fill the silence. Do you think people deserve the full truth? Or should something stay secret forever? Months later, another small rumor appeared. Someone inside the palace had destroyed the original recording. No one confirmed it, but the story fit too perfectly. Maybe that was the only way to save the family's dignity. Maybe Camilla left to make sure it was gone forever. Sometimes destroying a secret is the only way to protect those you love. Would you erase proof if it meant saving someone from pain? But even if the recording was gone, the memory of it stayed alive. The world couldn't unhear the whispers, the tone, the fear. People started saying this event had changed the monarchy forever. It reminded everyone that even inside palaces, people are still human, fragile, emotional, imperfect. Behind every royal crown, there's a heart that still breaks. Do you think being powerful means you stopped feeling pain? Time passed and slowly the news faded. New stories came, new scandals, new headlines, but some people still remember that week when the palace went silent. They remember the mystery of the missing queen, the voice in the recording, the questions that never got answers. Every now and then, someone online says, maybe she'll return one day. But maybe, just maybe, some departures are forever. Some stories don't end, they just stop being told aloud. If you could ask Queen Camilla one question today, what would it be? Days turned into weeks. Slowly, the public tone softened. People stopped asking where Camilla was and started asking how she was. The anger faded into quiet sympathy. The king continued his duties, but he looked more human now, less polished, more real. Catherine stood beside him in many events, offering silent support. In her eyes, the burden of truth remained, but so did peace. The palace began to breathe again. Its grand halls no longer echoed with tension. The same reporters who once shouted questions now spoke softer, using words like healing and hope. People could sense that something inside the royal family had changed forever. It wasn't about who wore the crown anymore. It was about what the crown had cost them. One evening, Catherine walked through the rose garden behind the palace. The flowers were in full bloom, their scent wrapping around her like a memory. She paused by the marble fountain where she and Camilla once stood together months ago, talking about duty and sacrifice. The wind was gentle, carrying a whisper through the leaves. It almost sounded like Camilla's voice saying, "You'll understand one day." Catherine smiled sadly. Maybe she finally did. Sometimes peace isn't loud. It's the quiet after the storm. Do you think forgiveness is stronger than truth? Inside the palace, King Charles sat alone in his private study. The golden light from the fireplace painted soft shadows across his face. He held Camilla's letter in his hands, the one that said, "Love doesn't disappear. It only changes its place." His fingers brushed the ink as if it was still warm from her hand. For years, he had spoken to millions as their monarch, but never once had he truly spoken to himself. Tonight, he did. "I spent half my life protecting this crown," he whispered, "but maybe I should have protected the people under it." His words faded into the silence. For a long time, he stared at the flickering fire, as if the flames held answers he could never find. And in that stillness, he finally understood something. Power can lead nations, but only love can heal them. Even kings need forgiveness, not from the world, but from themselves. Have you ever forgiven yourself for something you couldn't change? The next morning, a light rain touched the palace grounds. Catherine stood by the window, watching the drops slide down the glass like tiny pearls. She thought about how fragile everything was, life, love, truth, and how easily it could all be broken by silence. Yet in that fragility, there was beauty too, because even the smallest drop of rain carried the promise of something new. A quiet knock on the door pulled her out of thought. The king entered slowly, wearing a soft smile. "You remind me of your mother sometimes," he said kindly. "You see people, not their titles." Catherine nodded, unsure what to say. "She would have been proud of you," he added. For the first time in months, she felt warmth spread through her chest. "Thank you, Father," she said softly. The word father sounded heavier than Your Majesty, but also more real. When truth breaks walls, it also builds bridges. Is honesty always the best path, even when it hurts? Later that day, the king called for a private gathering in the royal chapel. There were no cameras, no speeches, no reporters, only family. Catherine, Prince William, and a few trusted members of the household stood quietly as the king lit a single white candle. For forgiveness, he said, simply for what we lost and what we still have. The small flame flickered, reflecting in each of their eyes. It was a simple moment, but it carried more meaning than any royal decree. Catherine felt her throat tightened as she whispered a silent prayer, not for herself, but for peace in the hearts of those who carried too much. Some promises are not spoken, they're felt. Have you ever made a silent promise that changed you? Weeks passed. Then one morning, an unexpected envelope arrived from abroad, marked only with a single royal seal. It was addressed to the king. Inside was a photograph of Queen Camilla standing near a seaside cliff, smiling softly, wind brushing her hair. Behind her, the ocean stretched endlessly, blue and alive. On the back, a handwritten note said, "I'm all right. Tell Catherine the garden is hers now." Charles held the photo close, then placed it gently on his desk. No tears, no words, just quiet understanding. That was her goodbye, not in anger, but in love. Sometimes love doesn't return to the castle, it stays free by the sea. If you could say one last thing to someone you miss, what would it be? From that day onward, Catherine took special care of the royal gardens. Every morning, she walked among the roses, trimming, watering, talking to the flowers as if they could listen. The palace staff often watched her, whispering that she looked more like a queen every day, not because of her crown, but because of her calm strength. During one of her walks, she stopped near a small bench under an oak tree. There, carved into the wood, were two letters, C and C. She smiled gently. "Some stories never end," she murmured. "They just find new beginnings. The world moves on, but love leaves its footprints. Do you think true love ever really ends?" Years later, when people spoke about that strange season in royal history, the proclamation, the disappearance, the forgiveness, they didn't call it a scandal anymore. They called it the Year of Truth. Historians wrote about it in books. Poets turned it into verses. But those who lived it remembered it differently, not as drama, but as transformation. King Charles grew older, but wiser. He smiled more, listened more, and carried less weight in his shoulders. He often said to his advisors, "A kingdom that hides its heart is a kingdom already broken." And people respected him for it. Princess Catherine, now standing firmly by his side, became a voice of balance, calm, kind, yet unafraid of truth. Whenever she spoke to the press or public, she reminded them, royalty is not perfection. It's persistence. Those words echoed across generations. The future didn't need a perfect crown. It needed an honest one. What do you think makes a true leader? Power or compassion? One late summer evening, the king sat in the garden, the same one Camilla once loved. The air smelled of roses and rain. Catherine joined him with tea, sitting quietly beside him. "Do you ever think about the past?" she asked. "Every day," he replied softly, "but I don't regret it anymore. It made us who we are." Catherine smiled. "Then maybe the crown finally fits." He chuckled lightly. "Maybe it does, for a while." They just sat there listening to the distant hum of the city beyond the palace gates. Ordinary life moving on, unaware that the royal family inside those walls had finally found peace. Even in palaces, peace comes from simple conversations. When was the last time you told someone you were proud of them? That night, as stars spread across the London sky, King Charles wrote a short note. Before going to bed, he placed it inside his journal under Camilla's photograph. The note read, "For love that taught me truth, and truth that taught me peace." Then he closed the book, blew out the candle, and smiled, not as a king, but as a man finally free from his own silence. The crown didn't make him whole. The truth did. Have you ever found freedom in something that once hurt you? And somewhere far away, by that same seaside where Camilla lived quietly, a soft wind carried the faint sound of church bells. She looked up at the sky, eyes glistening, and whispered, "He finally found peace." Then she turned back toward the waves, the wind playing with her hair. The ocean stretched endlessly before her, alive and forgiving. Sometimes love ends not in goodbye, but in understanding. Do you believe souls that once loved always find their way back to peace? As years passed, their story became legend, told not as gossip, but as a reminder that even those who seem untouchable are still human. The crown remained. History continued, and the next generation learned that grace was greater than pride, and that love, even when silent, never really disappears. And so the story of King Charles, Queen Camilla, and Princess Catherine became more than royal news. It became a reflection of every heart that ever broke and healed again, a story of truth, loss, and quiet redemption. Because sometimes the most powerful kingdoms are not built of gold or marble, but of forgiveness, and maybe that's the real crown, the one we carry inside our hearts. What do you think lasts longer, power or love? Tell me in the comments. If you had to choose between truth that hurts or a lie that comforts, which one would you live with? And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to share it, because maybe someone out there still believes that even broken crowns can shine again.